It's Ash from Super Videos, back for another video for The Last of Us on HBO. On this video, we're going to be taking a look at two recent clips that have recently come out with Troy Baker talking about Pedro Pascal and about his role in The Last of Us TV adaptation on HBO. Now, there are some very interesting details that I did mention in one of my previous videos, but it's starting to make more and more sense now. So I'm going to be putting things together and putting things into perspective in terms of what his role could be in the TV adaptation. Obviously, Troy Baker is the voice and performance artist for Joel in The Last of Us video game, which will be played by Pedro Pascal in the TV adaptation. So stay tuned, we'll be right back to break it all down. Alright, as always, before we dive into this, smash that like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. With that said, let's just dive right into it. But one thing I do want to mention before we dive deeper into this, because it's going to become relevant, which is that, as you may know, they were actually filming for season 1 of The Last of Us in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, which is actually the city that I live in. I've been able to visit set a few times and look at the sets that they've made, so I know a lot about what they've been filming for the show. And by the looks of it, it appears that they're going to be giving us the entirety of the first game, including the Firefly's hospital scene from the end of the game in season 1, which is interesting. And that detail is important because Troy Baker was actually in Calgary about 3 months ago for the Calgary Expo. I actually went and chatted with him a little bit. I asked him about whether he's going to make an appearance or a cameo on the show. He told me that he would love to. If they asked, he would be very happy to join. He obviously didn't tell me that he was actually going to be on the show, which makes sense because he was trying to keep it a secret. That's actually something he did talk about during the Summer Game Fest presentation.
You guys have kept a complete secret that you were up there and you filmed your roles by now, obviously?
Well, keeping secrets with this franchise is kind of old hat. It was one of the hardest things for us to do, is to not let people know that, because we're so proud of it and the work that we did. We worked hard.
What I do want to say is during the time when he was in Calgary, they were actually filming for the show at that time, and they were actually preparing a scene very similar to the scenes from the ending of the game with the Firefly's hospital. So it's possible that the role he's been given has something to do with someone at the Firefly's lab. And this goes back to a rumor that has come up recently, which is that he's actually going to play the doctor from the ending of the game, who's going to have a pretty major role in a way, more so in the second game, as far as the story goes. Now, I do want to show you a little bit of the clips I was talking about as well and kind of talk through it a little bit. But one final thing I do want to say is one of the set locations that they had for the hospital scene was maybe like 2 blocks from the place where the Calgary Expo was, which is where Troy Baker was talking to fans and everything. So even at that time, even though I didn't know that he's actually going to be on the show, in my mind, I was like, this is a little fishy, you know what I mean? So that's definitely cool to know that he was definitely there to shoot some stuff. Now, we don't know whether he was shooting this stuff before the Calgary Expo or afterwards, but we do know that he was there for a month to shoot, because that's the length of filming each episode. At least that's what Troy Baker said. But with that, let's just dive right into the clips. All of my links will be in the description, so you can go check out the original sources.
I'll tell you this, that Pedro feels the weight of this character, and that is the biggest challenge, I think, for him, is to be able to make sure that he is not trying to do a character that is anything like what I did, because that wouldn't work. We've already done that. But instead, I see a dedication to him to show you Joel to a whole new audience of people that still hits the same emotional beats that we did in the game.
So that's what he had to say when it comes to Pedro Pascal playing the role of Joel, the role that he played for the video game. Now, this goes back to something he actually mentioned during his Q&A during the Calgary Expo, which is that he doesn't just want to see the game as a live action. he wishes that they do something different. And that also goes to the Joel character. He wants to see a Joel or a side of Joel that he didn't see before. He wants Pedro Pascal to teach him something new about Joel, which is definitely the theme of what he's saying in this particular clip as well.
I'm so excited. This is not bulletin points from PR. I am genuinely excited to see what Pedro does with the HBO show. Genuinely excited. He's vicious as an actor. He works from such a visceral, guttural place. I can't wait to see what I learned from Joel, from him. I hope they do something different. Otherwise, why are they doing that? We've already done the game. I don't want to see a shot-for-shot remake as a live-action thing. I want to see something different. I want to see interpretation of characters.
But that's pretty much all that I wanted to talk about when it comes to what he said about Pedro Pascal. But obviously, if we kind of think about what he said during the Summer Game Fest presentation about this, he also said that the relationship that he saw, the dynamic that he saw between Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey was fairly similar to the dynamic that he and Ashley Johnson had playing Joel and Ellie in the video game. That's actually something that Neil Druckmann also said.
Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey, and not only directing them, but seeing them do all the other episodes, they've thrown themselves at these roles for a whole year. Watching the nuance that they bring to these characters, their relationship on and off camera, I couldn't help but think about Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson. It felt so similar to the chemistry those two actors had when we made the game. And it really feels like this is going to be something special. And I will say this will be the most authentic video game adaptation yet.
The attention to detail, the crew was amazing. Bella and Pedro are...
Man.
They're so perfect. And we've been trying to sort of describe that feeling of sort of seeing them in person. It's like the characters coming to life, but it's so much more than that. I feel like I can't fully explain it, but I am so excited to be a part of it, and I can't wait to see it. I think it is going to be so good.
So that's definitely very interesting. And obviously, looking at some of the behind-the-scenes pictures of Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal, we do get the same sense. So that is extremely awesome. And then here is another clip where he talks more about his role. So I'm going to let that play and talk through it.
I hear you have a part in the new HBO?
I do. I finally got to reveal, yeah. So it's a good role. It's been a lot of fun. It's been collaboration. Awesome. So, good God, man. Bella and Pedro are just unbelievable. Bella crushed it. She's so good.
So you're up there for a month, so I guess you must have some good screen time on it.
Yeah, I mean, they took a month per episode.
Oh, wow.
So they are not messing around.
One thing I do want to mention here is the guy asked them, you probably got a good screen time. He didn't necessarily respond by saying yes or anything. He said they take a month per episode. So he left it pretty open to not really answer the question, but say that, he was there for a full month to do whatever he was doing. And I'm sure that if he had a small role, he wouldn't be there for that long. Which also goes back to what I was saying earlier. The stuff that we saw related to the hospital Firefly scene, as far as the sets go, there was two major sets. One was more or less stuff related to scenes outside of the hospital. And they were also doing stuff which wasn't in Calgary. It was a town near Calgary, but that one was actually at an actual hospital. Like they were inside a hospital shooting. So that's interesting. But that whole thing, the two sets were kind of set up and up for around a month, which matches with what he's saying about them taking a full month to shoot one episode.
So when Craig and I started working on the show, almost one of our very first meetings, we said, Troy and Ashley have to be a part of it. And we're such fans of the talent and helping us create Joel and Ellie. We felt like it was so important that they become part of the show. And it has to be more than just kind of like a wink to the camera and like a cameo.
Okay.
These are real roles that we're keeping on the wraps for now. But man, I'm bummed that I couldn't be there with you guys when you filmed your stuff.
Everybody that's up there is a fan of the show, or is a fan of the game. So, the camera crew was kind of like, thank you so much, as well, you know, this is a lot of work. Like, what are you talking about? I was like, I'm a massive fan. It's like, I've played the game so many times. Everyone is up there did it because they love the story, they love the character.
Crew, I have to say, when I walked out on set, to be met with literally every person that I met on that crew is such a fan of this game, and they all knew what it was that they were working on and committed to working on this project because of their fan and their love for the game was one of the greatest. It was like I was coming home to friends.
Speaking to some of the crew that were there, as far as the security guards and stuff, they were all fans. So what he's saying is accurate, I can say from personal experience. But that's pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about in this video. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, smash that like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.